Standard 4 EVS1.
Good afternoon. In the last lesson, we saw about the many things that we learn as we grow up, together make our upbringing, and also how our parents and close relatives play an important role in our upbringing. Today, we are going to learn something more about our family and loved ones in the lesson Changes in the Family and Neighborhood. Now, my dear children, you can see in this picture there is a husband and a wife. Now, for us to understand better, let's just give them a name. We will name them Mr. and Mrs. Patil. Now, in the year 1950, they were the only two members of the family. Then, after a period of 20 years, that is the year 1970, Mr. Patil was no more, but his wife is there with her son Arun and his wife and her grandchildren. Then, in the year 1990, we can see that Mrs. Patil is also no more, and their son Arun and his wife has grown old, and even their children have grown up. And in the last picture, it shows that Arun and his wife have become too old. Their son got married and he is having two children. Now, if you noticed, after every 20 years, the number of members have changed every time in their family. Each family may have different numbers of people. This number does not remain the same. As time passes, it may increase or decrease. Now, marriage is one such reason for a loss or gain. So, if you observe your family or the families around you, the number of people keeps on changing after few years. Now, you may have seen an aunt or cousin's wife joining your family after getting married. Now, this way the number of members increases. Or another aunt or cousin getting married and joining another family, due to which the number of member decreases. The number of people in a family also changes due to births or deaths. Now, a family grows when the new generation is born. But when members of a family pass away due to reasons like old age, illness, or accidents, the number of its members is reduced. Now, sometimes children in a family go to other places for their education. Some take up jobs or occupations in other places. Now, moving from one place to another in order to live there is called migration. Now, migration in simple word means when a person shifts from one place to another permanently. Thus, due to migration, marriages, births and deaths, the number of people in a family goes on changing. Now, it is not only in our family that we see these changes, but it occurs in the entire society. Do you know? Birds also migrate. Yes, even birds too migrate in search of food and shelter from one place to another. This is mainly due to shortage of food, water, or even in search of new shelter. Have you seen a flock of swans flying in a V formation in the sky? Have you heard about beautiful flamingos? Every year they migrate from one place to another at a fixed time. Now, some birds fly far away while others do not go very far. We can see flamingos at several places in Maharashtra between October and March. These flamingos are very beautiful. Now, birds fly in a flock. flock means in a group. But they do not have families or neighbors like human beings, even though they stay together in a flock. Changes in a family. When a member of the family goes far away for some reasons like education, job, or occupation, he stays in touch with the family through letters, telephone calls, and now we also have the internet. These modern means of communication have brought the world close together. It is really true. Like, for example, today in this pandemic situation, we teachers are sitting at home and teaching you all through online sessions. Now, this is only possible due to the modern means of communication. From ancient times to the present, the nature of a family has undergone many changes. When man started agriculture for his livelihood, he settled down in one place. As agriculture included work like plowing, weeding, sowing, harvesting, etc., there came a need for many people to help him out in this work, because of which many relations stayed together and formed a big family. But as the family grew, it became impossible to feed everyone through farming alone. Slowly, trade, that is, buying and selling of goods, and other occupations developed. So, cities began to grow and get crowded at the same time. People began to move on to places where they could find work. Because of this, big families were scattered into many small families. In simple words, because of agriculture, many people stayed together as one big family. But later on, they started moving out into the cities in search of various occupations, which led to smaller families. In the recent years, the number of people going to other states and countries for work and education has increased greatly. Many families have one of their family members living abroad or in another city in our own country. Therefore, the family system is also changing. Just as we see changes in our family, we also see these changes happening in our neighborhood too. Now people migrate for jobs, occupations, or education. As we migrate, we see the diversity in our country. This is how we are introduced to different festivals, food, customs, and traditions. But at the same time, we also realize that as human beings, we are all alike. Do you know? Some people need to migrate frequently for work, like the sugarcane harvesters or construction workers, and others like them keep moving to places where they can find work. Wherever and whenever they migrate, their children are given admission in the local schools. So, there are some workers who have to migrate from one place to another due to work. So, they move out with their family, and that is why their children are given admissions. Apart from our family, we also have daily contact with our neighbors. Isn't it true, my dear children? Yes. As we live in the same locality, we need each other's help to solve problems of garbage, security, water, and electricity. Especially in times of need, it is our neighbors who help us till our relatives can reach us during an emergency. It is our neighbors who reach out to us first, then our relatives. Due to the help we give each other, our relations with our neighbors become friendly. So, friendly and harmonious, which means peaceful relations make for joyful community life. My dear children, I hope you understood this lesson. Fill in the blanks. Moving from one place to another in order to live there is called migration. The number of people in a family changes due to migration, marriages, births, and deaths. We can see flamingos at several places in Maharashtra between October and March. Give reason. Relations with neighbors become friendly. Apart from our family, we also have daily contact with our neighbors. We live in the same locality and need each other's help to solve problems of garbage, security, water, and electricity. Due to the help we give each other, our relations with our neighbors become friendly. Big families were scattered into many small families. As the family grew, it became impossible to feed everyone through farming alone. Trade and other new occupations developed. Cities began to grow. People began to migrate to places where they could find work. So, big families were scattered into many small families. People migrate. People migrate for education or to take up jobs in other places. They are introduced to different festivals, food, customs, and traditions, and see the diversity in our country. They also realize that as human beings, we are all alike.